stream live from the capsule. Um, I'd like to say thank you, everybody that subscribed, all the new subscribers, everybody that keeps clocking in on the comments, likes, and subscribing. I really appreciate you very much. Okay, have been on here for a couple few days. Had to kind of give myself another kick in the ass to kind of get back on here. I almost started getting brain fog. Almost like, what am I going to talk about? What am I going to say? But I've never really had too much planning going on. It's just kind of my thoughts rambling on screen, right? But today I'm gonna be going over a couple of things that I've been going through in my own head, and that's the big respect and salute for all those that stay in the pocket. I got that saying from someone that I've been watching that does a lot of calisthenics on YouTube. I want to say it's like Yard Out Fitness. I'll probably drop his link in the comment section. I really don't know the exact name of the channel, but I do watch him, and that's one of the things that the gentleman preaches is like, stay in the pocket. You're going to find a million and one ways and a million and one reasons to not do exactly what you're doing. And I find myself in that predicament right now. I find that as much as I'm still drawing pretty regularly, still working out pretty regularly, still being present in all my endeavors as far as it goes for my tattooing, my research and development for maybe a new product line and or merchandise with my art on it. I'm starting to go down the rabbit hole of like, because I like to read and write and reflect on the things that I'm reading to kind of have those go into a deeper space in my brain and or mind. It helps me remember things. It's not so surface based. I find that if I just read a lot of excerpts and or with all the information that I'm gathering from the internet all day long and where people are talking to me and I'm processing all the information that I have to do when I'm drawing, it almost seems like nothing sticks. Everything is just it's coming in really quickly, and I'm using what I can and kind of dispersing what I don't need. And it's almost like a survival mechanism, I feel like, because you can only think about so many things, you can only hoard so many thoughts, and have them almost in your present day to day, you know, priorities, I guess. There's only so many things that you think about like regularly. Everything else, I feel like you just gather, use that information, and then just kind of drop off the rest. And I feel that when I do the reading and the writing, it kind of sinks in a little bit more. Makes me think back to what I was reading and maybe almost formulate ideas around that, and then use my filter to put it on paper. I'm starting to almost think like I want to start doing these drawings that I do out of these prompt books, like this one in front of me, and just maybe do a little bit of a storyline behind some of those images and what made me draw it that way. We've spoke about me being repetitive with this. I've done this more than once. I'm constantly drawing in my prompt books. This is something that I believe is going to be a lost art. A lot of people, unless you're deliberately going to art school or deliberately putting yourself through the ringer and learning how to draw and understanding anatomy and understanding composition, lighting, color theory, even dealing with people, I think it's going to be a lost art, man. We're getting too digital with the shit, you know? So, right? This is just one of those things that I do for myself that makes me feel like I'm actually trying to achieve something, like there's a North Star somewhere. But again, I'm going to give a big salute and a big respect to anybody out there that's continually pushing through, even when you don't feel like it, because that's one of the feelings that I've been having lately, where it's like, what am I doing this for? You know what I mean? I'm still drawing. I'm still, doing everything that I say that I want to do. Why do I feel like I need to put it online? Why do I feel like I need to make these YouTube videos? Well, that's the resistance right there. that's we talked about this before, relating back to that book by um, I think it's James Pressfield. It's the resistance. As soon as things start to feel like they may happen, you're going to get some resistance. You're going to feel like maybe I shouldn't be doing this. You're going to get that second, uh, that subconscious voice kind of nagging at you because it's something new. And with new things come new problems, new situations that you're going to have to adapt to. And maybe subconsciously I'm scared of all of that, and or not ready for all of that, and or that's what my brain is telling me. But I'm going to go ahead and persist. I am going to jump the fence like I did this morning. I just came from dropping my kids off from school, and I thought of literally five other things that I could have done before I dropped this live video. I could have worked out, haven't worked out yet. Took my pre-workout already, but still haven't worked out yet. I could have done a quick 500 or bust video where I don't have to really speak. All I kind of do is put this camera in a couple of different angles, and I draw these little drawings out of my prompt book. And I do that in about 15 minutes. Most of these drawings that are in these books are about 15 minutes, 20 minutes. I'm not trying to get perfection. I'm just trying to get some hand-eye coordination, rack my brain a little bit, think about what I do on a daily basis and how that all relates back. But last night, you know, uh, almost like I stayed up thinking about it. I stayed up thinking about, like, why aren't you putting out those live streams that you were doing for a while there? Why are you skipping that? And I had no real answer. I had no real reason. Like, it wasn't like there was, and there are a lot of things going on in my life right now that are pretty heavy and that do require my attention. But at the moment, me not doing the things that I should be doing for myself, that I feel like I should be doing for myself, if I don't help myself, how am I going to help those around me, right? If I'm not sticking to the word that I told myself, how am I going to tell other people to respect my word, right? Um, how am I going to build the body of work behind this video series and listen? Like I've said before, I listen to myself back on these, like, not to be weird or anything like that, but it lets me feel where I need to work on, where I need to develop ideas. Do I keep saying do I keep looking away from the camera because I don't want any interaction? Hey, what's going on, guys? Hello, everybody in the chat. Welcome to the community. It's live from the Capsule, Manny Cabrera. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and or go down my video lineup and check out some stuff. Last night was one of those nights where I proved to myself that it's like, well, you do this anyway. My family went to bed really early, or not really early, but regular time, about 9-ish, 9 something. I wasn't tired yet. I didn't highly exert myself yesterday, which is kind of one of those things that for me particularly, it's one of the things that keeps me sane, that keeps me happy, that keeps me feeling like I'm actually doing something, that I'm being appreciative of the day, that I'm taking advantage of every minute, every hour, and then giving myself a little bit of lax time to maybe surf the web and maybe go down the rabbit hole on social media and not feel bad about it, right? So yesterday was one of those days where I did work out yesterday, but I did a little bit of body weight training early in the morning, legs, you know, did a couple hundred squats. Not enough. Not enough. You know what I mean? For some people maybe. For me, not so much. Because then I went to work and then I came home and then I went to go visit my brother-in-law and stuff like that. And I just wasn't tired enough to go to bed yet. And every night I have kind of like the same protocol where I take some magnesium. Sometimes I take a little bit of melatonin and stuff just to kind of help me get to bed really quickly, because I'm one of those guys that sleep just doesn't come easy to me. I know that. And so that's my thing. But even after all that, I wasn't ready to go to bed. So I stayed up and I surfed the web a little bit and I drew this. I drew this last night, probably about midnight, very quickly, 15, 20 minutes, like I said. Padlock. So it's just like a little locket with an eye in the middle and stuff like that. And that just proved to myself last night. I was like, dude, you do this all the time anyway. You're drawing all the time anyway. When you sit down at your desk and there's nothing to do, I'm gonna draw. Do you know what I mean? So, like, why not put that out there? And again, I'm gonna go ahead and throw a big salute to everybody that stays in the pocket, because those are the things that are bringing you back to your reality, right? You can find so many reasons not to do it. And I think I'm reading a book. I read about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes every morning. And I do it on the Books app. Hey, what's going on? Bing Bing's World. If you're a big art guy, feel free to follow me, man. I talk about all different types of things, art and life related. Also about the art of living pretty conscious life and trying to build in the right direction. But you know, in that book, it's called The 15 Laws of Success by Napoleon Hill. It's a very dated book. I've even asked people, like, you don't know who Napoleon Hill is? And there's a lot of people that don't know who he is. Maybe I just went down that rabbit hole. Well, it's a self-help book from many, many moons ago. And it kind of reiterates a lot of the stuff, and that's another topic, and another reason why I do this channel, is because I feel like everything is relative. Like, if you really think about it, everything, like, mathematics and art, the physical realm, the mental realm, relationships, and your finances, sleep, and and effort. Like, if you really think of it, that yin yang thing, that the meditation thing, the prayer thing, the classism, the hate to say it on here, but also like the artism, but like a lot of that stuff, it's all related if you really think about it. It's just ideologies that are put out by the people, but some of us accept it because it's relative to something else. You don't even know why you're believing these things. We all respect and love what you have to offer to the world. Thank you, brother. Hey, I appreciate you very much, man. I appreciate that very much. The comments that make you keep coming back, right? And it's what you feed the brain. It's what you feed the mind. That's your perspective builder. So I find that, and I found that in myself, and that's kind of why I feel down, and I don't feel like I'm accomplishing anything. Like, I'm not putting my 2 cents into the piggy bank for the community to use, because I'm still doing my thing. I'm still working out. I'm still doing what I got to do as a dad. I'm still drawing. I'm still, like, I'm still doing all those things. Only I'm not putting it online. It's not being it's not being put into, I guess, it's not getting put into the arena, and I'm doing it for myself. And I don't know where that comes into play as far as like the human psyche goes, but I think that there has to be a link between you putting out energy, from the things that you're doing and contributing, and what that energy that you put out there does, and or how it comes back to you. I think that's one of the missing components for myself, particularly, because I've now almost subconsciously built that habit that I need to put the work out into the arena, put the work, the words, the perception, the systems into the ecosystem, my systems into the general ecosystem, to be judged, to be consumed, to be criticized, to live and bring back something for myself as well. So maybe there's some selfishness in that, and I know that without putting it out, I'm not going to get that final factor. And I don't know if any of that is true, but what I can tell you is that I do have that, whether you want to call it angel or demon on my shoulder at the moment, uh, that if I'm not putting out this content, and not necessarily even this content, but I just feel like I'm more drawn to this because it's allowing me to speak my mind pretty fluently, I've done it in a couple of different ways where, there was one that I was drawing while I was talking, and then there's some of them that I'm like kind of writing while I'm talking, and there's some of them that I'm designing on the iPad. But I feel like I'm more fluent, more streamlined. I'm more delivering my thoughts without having to break up my thought process and problem solving skills into like what I'm drawing and then what I'm speaking about and then like what's in the comments. Hence why I yet still have gotten to the position where there's a lot of people in my industry that do that. They like put a live stream on while they're doing tattoos, and then they're like talking to the chat, and or they have somebody else that's reading the chat and asking them questions. I feel like I, I've never done it, so I can't 100% speak on what that feels like and or what that would be like. But for me, when I'm tattooing, especially when I'm doing something that's very high attention based, high detailed based, very linear, maybe a lot of the micro stuff that I'm starting to do right now, just because we're in season here in Southwest Florida, so we have a little bit more walk-in traffic, a lot more people that are just here for a good time and to kind of get away from the Northeast or the Northwest and the cold weather. And they come down, and you'll have groups of people that walk in the door that kind of just want little tattoos, just like kind of trinkets or memories. And a lot of those tattoos are small, intricate, and it has to be perfect. There isn't too much room for error. There isn't anywhere to hide your mistakes. I don't feel like I would have the attention to be looking up and answering questions on a live stream, plus interacting with my client, plus doing these tattoos at a high level. But I haven't tried it, so I'm just speaking from from my vantage point, speaking from outside the circle. Okay, so I don't want anybody to get offended. Any of the tattooers out there that watch my videos, I'm not by any means throwing any shade. I just think that I couldn't really do that. Hence why I don't do a lot of content around my tattooing, and maybe that's a big excuse as well. When I show up to the shop, I'm kind of like really, I'm really locked in to doing what I do all day, every day, regularly, in a system base. Like, I walk in the shop, the first thing I do is always set up my station, whether I have a tattoo to do or not. I usually do have a tattoo to do, but sometimes I get reschedules or whatever. But that's like the first thing, because I know that I need all of this in line for me to do the next step. Then I start getting into my design process and or printing off my stencil and or maybe working on something else because I'm already ready for today's assignment, because it's something that I'm working on already. But I pretty much do the same thing over and over again. And I feel like that's what works for me. System-based days. Wake up basically the same time, get the kids ready if it's a weekday, take my pre-workout, workout, draw, read, reflect, maybe post online. Maybe post online. Notice how that's the last of my concerns, which it shouldn't be. In today's landscape, it shouldn't be. I'll be the first one to say that. You know, I was speaking about that in a prior live. I think it's starting to come full circle in a way where people are starting to realize that being online, having an online presence, putting your work out there, having some engagement, whether it's for business or whether it's for social purpose, right? Because it's social media, people are finding it to be like a necessity. It's not like, oh, I'm not online anymore. It almost seems odd when you meet someone and you're just like, hey, what's your handle, or what do you do? They're just like, oh, I don't, I'm not online. It's almost odd to you. It's almost like when someone says, I don't have a phone. You're just like, what's up with this guy? Something's wrong, right? But that's just perception. That's just perception. But I believe that I should be giving my online content, my online presence, these live streams a little bit more importance. Hence why I'm shooting this one. I wasn't really ready for this stream. This stream was this stream was just like off the cuff, and it's about the respect for everybody that's staying in the pocket. Plus, the realization for myself that what I'm feeding myself subconsciously is what's going to build that moral compass. Because it doesn't necessarily mean that that's what you're going to do. Because there's plenty of people that study. There's plenty of people that study, know a lot of stuff, but they don't put it into the physical realm. They never take action. Knowledge without action, if you're an adult and you're in this stream, everybody knows it's almost useless. You know what I mean? You're really good for conversation, but it almost makes you more sour because you know what should be done and you're not doing it. So the saying of like ignorance is bliss. There's a lot of truth to that. If you don't know, you could live in fantasy land and you're happy as hell and no one can tell you otherwise. And someone will kind of come at you with some type of logic and you're just like, because you don't know, right? But the more you know about your current situation and where you actually want to be, if you're not taking those steps to go in that direction, your subconscious is going to nag at you. At least mine does. And when I speak on here, I'm not speaking for the general public. I put out my opinions um, because it's my truth and it's what I go through. But I don't feel like I'm that much different than other humans. So uh, I just think that other people think like me or think that other people feel like me. But who knows? Maybe everybody's chemical makeup and or DNA chain is so different that no one thinks the same, that everybody learns different, that everyone's perspective is so off and so different from yours that you just have to go in through a different alley, right? You got to get into the building using a different door. And some people you got to reverse engineer it, right? You got to show up on the roof and work your way backwards. I don't know. I'm just spitballing. But what I can tell you is that because I've been feeding my subconscious, reading self help books, a lot of the stuff that I watch online is about like building yourself, being productive, how to become financially independent, how to build yourself as a brand, how to become a better artist, how to become a better dad, how to put your kids in a position to win, how to be physically active, how to be a better husband. Those are all the things and all the info that I basically ingest. So when I'm out of character in any of those areas in my real life, I get that knock, knock, knock from my subconscious. Knock, knock, knock. You're not doing this and you know better. Knock, knock, knock. You're not doing this and you know better. And when I do the things that I'm supposed to be doing, uh, at least for myself, I can feel the actual joy. There's times where and it happens to me a lot when I'm working out. I go through those ebbs and flows of my emotion. If I'm feeling like really like, killer vibes, like I just want to go out there and conquer something. Man, sometimes I get this rage in me that it almost like brings like, it waters my eyes. I'm like so ready to get after it. And then there's times where I'm like lifting and or doing some cardio or I'm in the sauna or something like that. Not necessarily in the sauna, I'm lying. When I'm in the sauna, I'm surviving, dude. I haven't gotten to that point where I get like happy when I'm in there, right? But I find that I don't need someone to pat me on the back when I'm doing a good job because I know I am, and that's also your subconscious saying like, hey, here's the pat on the back. You don't need to be reprimanded. And this morning, I can honestly say, and last night I had a really tough time going to bed and like falling asleep. My conscience is nagging at me. My conscience is nagging at me because I should be doing my 500 or bust. I should be putting out my live streams. I should be posting on Instagram and not just my story. If anybody in here in the chat follows me, I'm gonna leave my link in the comment section pinned. It's Art by Manny on Instagram. And if you see my storyline, you can see I'm pretty active on there. I'm pretty much posting a little bit of art every day. I put a little bit of my day-to-day life, like my regular life, my kids, sometimes my workout, my watch, showing you how many minutes I worked out for the day. Every once in a while, when I get some fancy food, I'll throw that on there. So I'm pretty active on there, but it's the least, it takes the least effort to go ahead and just upload to your story. You know what I mean? All I got to do is take a picture of what it is that I'm working on, and or flower that I'm walking by, and or my watch, and it just goes on there. But there's no curating. It's not, I'm not like making a conscious decision to say like, okay, I'm gonna put these 4 pictures out, and I'm gonna put this caption on it, and I'm gonna make sure to tag these accounts, and I'm gonna make sure that I reach out to I don't know, a few of my friends that that'll engage with the content, to then start that flywheel to get you out there into the algorithm, and get other eyes on you, because it's all about more eyes on you. When you're into particularly what I'm sorry, I'm like rambling and or slurring. I don't know what's going on there, but particularly in my life and what I do for a living, it's all about getting new eyes on me. Because I do have clients, and I do stay pretty steady and booked, but people, for the most part, might get 1 or 2 tattoos if they're getting bigger tattoos, or they might get one sleeve, or they might get a couple of bangers, and you may not see this person again for 6 months, 8 months, 9 months. They might move away. You know what I mean? And you're gonna get referrals and stuff like that. But the name of the game in my field, in what I do, and where I'm geographically based, is about getting more eyes on you, being more of a household name, um, producing things not necessarily on skin all the time, but also showing out my art process, my systems that I put into place to get the results of my art, and to be relatable to the people, right? So, you know, start going out maybe more in the vicinity of where I work. I find that I don't really do too much uh socializing in Sarasota, because that's where I work. I live in Venice, but I work out in Sarasota. It would probably be in my best interest to, a couple of days a week, at least do like guerrilla marketing, like I used to, like 10 years ago, when I first started doing a lot of the stuff. And before this, I was a barber, and it was the same kind of deal. But back then, I used to go out all the time. I was a lot younger guy, and I used to go out to the bars and to the clubs and to restaurants, and I always used to have a pack of cards, and I'd always just pass them out. Talk to people. Hey, I do this, I do that. Oh, that's pretty cool. Hey, if you're ever in the area, just stop on by or whatever. I feel like that wouldn't hurt me as well. But I do give more importance. I think we're more in an era where uh, digital, if I had to choose one, I would choose the digital footprint over my physical footprint. But when it comes to this, more is more. This isn't one of those. Um, I don't think that this is one of those niches and or skill sets where less is more, where there is a lot of things that are like that. Simplification is your friend. But I think when it comes to social media, when it comes to marketing, when it comes to building a brand, or building merchandise that you would like people to be involved in as a community, I think it's really about putting yourself out on Front Street, and uh, putting new eyes on yourself. And there's a reason why the Tesla dealership in Sarasota is right on the corner of the highway, with big glass planes for you can see the cars. Everybody knows that Tesla exists. Everybody knows that they're electric cars. Everybody knows about Elon. He wants it there for you to see every day. I want you to see these cars every day. Why? To create that subconscious connection. So then later, when you consciously make a decision, at least you're at the forefront of being in the list of something to be picked, right? But again, this is Manny Cabrera, live from the Capsule. Today's video live stream was gauged and aimed at me saluting all of those entrepreneurs, all of those artists, um, anybody out there that's staying in the pocket, being consistent, feeding the subconscious. So then when you consciously act, you're working in your own benefit. Take into consideration all the information that you're putting in here, because what you put in here is what's going to happen here, right? It's going to happen here. You're going to find that the more slapstick comedy and brainless content that you ingest is going to affect the way that you react to things. It's going to affect the way that you interact with people. It's going to affect the way in how serious you take a day to day. And I'm jealous. I'm jealous of the people that are a decade younger than me and are already starting to think in the terms. And I see it, and then I see others that aren't thinking in those terms. And I'm almost anxious to see what that's going to play out like because I don't have all the answers, right? Maybe the way I'm thinking is incorrect. I always put myself in that situation where A, I could be wrong. I'm human like everybody else. I don't have all the answers. If I did, chances are I wouldn't be right here right now. B, it could happen to me too. I'm never above a good ass whipping, getting sick, getting hurt, getting into a verbal altercation because I wasn't, aware and or in control of my emotions. It happens to a lot of people every day. So I never put myself above any of that stuff. So again, salute to everybody that out there. Keep putting in the work. Stay consistent. Be careful what you feed your mind. And have a great day, guys. It's Tuesday, January 20th. I hope you guys kill it. And feel free to reach out and look at my past comment and my past content. Like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. It's 500 a bus. We're in a race to get to 500 subscribers. Once I get to 500 subscribers, I am going to put together a special drawing. Maybe it's going to come along with a poem and or a statement. And I'm going to pick some winners, and I'm going to get after some subscribers and maybe get some gift packages out to some people. Tell a friend to tell a friend. Let's get me to 500 subs. I appreciate you guys very much, and have a great day.